Thank you so much for setting up the time to go ahead and have us kind of meet with a lot of your customers. I know how valuable they are to Central Data and appreciate just the opportunity to even talk about Phocas and how we've been helping your customers and the other Infor community as well. So thank you so much. So Phocas and Central Data, we have a great partnership. We've really enjoyed working with your customers and helping bring Phocas in to help them with their analytics, financial reporting, rebates, and budgeting and forecasting and needs. So we're going to go ahead and take some time today, just kind of go through what we do and how we do it. Sound good? On this call, let's go ahead and do this. On this call, obviously, I'm Lauren Sullivan. Phocas has seen such a great response from the Infor community, both at TUG and Infor as a whole, from the tax solutions and A+, CSV, SX, et cetera, that they've actually created an entire team devoted just to the Infor customers. So I get to be part of that team, and that's me, Lauren Sullivan. And also we have Alexa West on the call, and she's part of the sales team as well, partnered directly with Central Data. So excited to be partnered and working with them as well. What we're going to cover today, we're not going to do too much of a PowerPoint presentation because we know how fun and exciting those always are, but want instead to go ahead and dive into the tool, what it looks and feels like, how it works, and where we can make an impact for you and your business as well. But we'll go ahead and go over kind of just who we are, why us, and then go into everything else. Cool. So we are not a startup. So we've actually been around since 2001 and helping our customers. Our foundation started with the analytics tool, which we'll go ahead and show you with as well. But we're really big into making sure that we're customer obsessed. And when I say that, we really listen to what you guys need and want. So our analytics tool is where we started, and that's our foundation. But our customers came back to us and said, you've made our operational reporting so easy. Can you help us with financial reporting? So we created financial statements, and then they said, hey, you've made that so good. Can you help us with these other areas as well? So founded in 2011, we're always developing and innovating. We have a 97% customer retention. Our foundation is in the manufacturing, wholesale distribution and retail industry. We do it in lots of other different industries as well, but that has been our core and our foundation too. And what really makes us successful is because we really are easy to use. I'm going to show that to you too. And I know a lot of people say they're easy to use. We go ahead and we hold ourselves to that. And I think that when you talk to our customers and talk to Shane and the team out there, it truly is meant for that end user and not necessary for you to have to rely on IT all the time to do it. Fast ROI integrations. Central Data has been amazing at getting Phocas up and running for their customers. And we look forward to potentially partnering with you guys as well. Okay. Bottom line, what Phocas does is we're here to truly make you feel good about your data. That's been our mission since day one, and that's what we kind of start our meetings with as well, going forward too. So Phocas started obviously with that analytics piece, then moved on to the financial statements piece, and then most recently we've launched in the budgeting and forecasting as well. And basically giving you all of those tools. We also have rebates too, but giving you all of those tools into one user interface. So you're not having to marry your Infor data with some other reporting data, with your financial data, and perhaps Excel, flat files, et cetera, but instead giving you one kind of holistic view within the tool. One thing that we found too is that Phocas is data agnostic. And when I say that, you know, a lot of people say they're data agnostic, but we truly are. We connect into data into multiple different ways. So we have APIs, we have ODBC connectors, SQL queries, and even Excel flat files or CSV, et cetera. And depending on where that data sits and what sits there, we can go ahead and bring them all in and merge them together. So you have here the warehouse, but you might have some of your warehouse data, your freight data, your human resources and payroll, as well as e-commerce, et cetera. We can marry all that data together, including with your Infor, CSV, FXC, whatever that environment might be too. So Phocas works a bit like a Rubik's Cube, but instead of you having to go ahead and invest so much time into figuring out how to solve it all, Phocas solves it for you. So we bring all of those different colors, data sources, experience together and put it together in a really nice and easy to understand without you having to invest the time to learn how to do it, to build it, to create it and customize it. And the products overview that we have right now that we're seeing as the most popular for those Infor customers Obviously, analytics and financial statements, everybody's using that across the board and across the Infor ERPs. But on top of that, budgeting and forecasting, and even more so that rebates tool as well, because a lot of our the Infor customers are both manufacturers or distributors. Both of them have significant revenue streams coming from that rebates tool, from rebates as well. So today we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Phocas Analytics, which is kind of, again, really easy to use, self-service. You're not going to have to rely on your IT team or a big professional services team to go ahead and create or customize them. And we're going to go ahead and show you some of those as well. The financial statements tool, which is really flexible and customizable for whatever that audience might be. You might have, the controller wanting to have one view, the owner's another, your branch or warehouse manager a third. Having lots of different versions that they can all see and are really easy to distribute. We also have a budgeting and forecasting tool, which will go ahead and make collaborative kind of budgeting and forecasting instead of it being this big cumbersome event that you have to do, once a year that takes 6 to 12 weeks. Instead, a real-time collaborative tool that has version control, audit trails, and be able to really have that security setting so that you're only showing what you want to show to different people and not having to worry about them seeing things that you don't. How Phocas works. What's also really cool is that you don't have to be sitting at your laptop or your computer or workstation to go ahead and use it. It is compatible on cell phones, on your laptop, and tablets as well. That way, depending on if you're about to go into a customer meeting or you're out in the field assessing your sales team, you can go ahead and pull up those reports or dashboards just from your car and then go ahead and make sure you can go out and see them. Or that warehouse manager or purchasing manager can kind of see why they're in the warehouse, what's going on as well. And so that's where you can go ahead and see that web enabled. We also have all of this piece of where it's really customizable and you can go ahead and expand and contract depending on what you need, but then also feed into it all these different data sources, whether it be those flat files, your import data, and everything else too. So the other thing that's really nice too is that you have a lot of different capabilities. So it is user license, named user license. So you can go ahead and create visualizations or dashboards. Maybe you only want your sales team to look at those dashboards, but then maybe those management team might want to dive deeper into looking at that analysis and seeing what's going on, but underneath the layers. But then also enabling your IT team to go ahead and build and create and bring in different data sources on their own without having to rely on us or central data to do it for you. We can, and we would be more than happy to, but really want to make sure that if you want to be self-service, you truly can be. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to stop sharing for just 1 minute, and let's do stop share. I'll show you the screen. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and dive into the environment. So just give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. Now I'll start share again. Can you see my screen again with the home up top? Can you guys see my home screen?
Yes, we can. Looks good.
So this is a home screen. And so I want to go ahead and quickly go over kind of what you're looking at here. Again, when I talked about being data agnostic, in this particular environment, I have 9 different data sources. So I have your sales database, an AR database, AP. I've merged a couple of them, but you can go ahead and bring in all those different data sources. And then from there, you can do a bunch of different things. So we'll go ahead and talk about the dashboards, but immediately you can go ahead and create favorites. Favorites are what Phocas calls your canned reports, but they're not just a canned report. So if you look at this cross-sell report, it's not just a PDF that you can go ahead and look at and have to read an interpreter. It's actually dynamic where you can say it's a cross-sell report, perhaps by product class, but wait, you want to look at it by customer type, or the rep. You can continue asking it questions. So out of the box, our import customers do get about 20 different favorites already set up for them, because those are things that we know. You want to see when customer sales are going up, down, products increasing, decreasing, etc. On top of that, we can go ahead and take those reports and do something even better with them and create actually alerts. So let's say you have those reports, but what you want to know when something exceptional goes on, when sales are lower than expected, when the product is lower than expected and sales performance is up. Maybe when you have low stock in a particular item, you can go ahead and create those favorites, but then also create alerts, and you'll get that alert right on your home screen. But you can also have an email that will be emailed to you with a spreadsheet that will show it to you and a link right back to that report to go ahead and let you know what was going on. So that would be the alerts. And then last but not least is the dashboards. So what you can do with the dashboard is combine all of these favorites as well as those alerts and everything else too onto one dashboard as well. We also have, I think it's 6 or 7 different dashboards depending on your solution that come again out of the box. We do that because we want to go ahead and have you have a starting point, but then we also help you customize them on your own and teach you how to go ahead and change them. So right now we're looking at a sales manager dashboard, really easy to go ahead and read and consume. So what we're looking at here is our year-to-date sales in total, our margin, the month-to-date in total, as well as our margin as well. And so what's really nice about that is you can customize that. So in my environment, I just go in ahead and set what I thought was going to be, good, okay, or bad, and color code it really easily. That way I can direct my team to see what I want them to focus on immediately. Also in this dashboard, we have what to do today. Save these declining customers. The easiest thing to go ahead to expand your revenue is to go ahead and go after a customer that's already buying and just expand that sale. And then 2, to get new customers. And the hardest time to get a customer is when they've already stopped buying. So really easy to go ahead and customize this to say, I want to know when these customers are declining so I can have that conversation before they stop buying altogether. Also really easy to do in Phocas is calculate dead stock or declining stock. A lot of times people are only doing this once a year when they're doing their physical inventory. Phocas allows you to go ahead and you can set the dead stock limits. Let's say it's after 3 months or 18 months per product or product class, et cetera, but be able to really show that. So then again, kind of going down all these different reports. So I have my reps, the product class, customer metrics, how I'm performing to budget, what products. I can even embed some AR in there as well. But again, just a number of reports. So on this dashboard, we're probably looking at about 20 or 30 different reports, all combined into one dashboard. So instead of sending those out 30 plus reports every single week or month or day, you have them all consolidated in one. And what's really nice is you can create one dashboard, and then because we are a named user, it will go ahead and update depending on who that person is logging in. So let's say I want to go ahead and I'm the sales manager for the US market. I can click on US, I click on Phocas. So the entire dashboard will go ahead and update specifically just for that US market. So I'm logging in, if I'm the US manager, this is what I'm going to see when I log in. I won't see the totals, I'll just see what you want me to see. So then let's say I'm going to go ahead and go down here, and I really want to sit down and talk to Judy Kelly, who seems to be doing really well. Let's see who's the top one here. I can click on this, it'll filter right there. So Judy Kelly is doing the best. So let's click on Judy Kelly and click on this Phocas button again. The dashboard will go ahead and update just based on my clicks. So now she's done 3 million, her margin, her month to date. She has 1 declining customer. And let's say I want to specifically look at how she's doing in lights and lamps. Click on that, go back up here and click on Phocas. What I like about Phocas is that you don't have to go ahead and put that filtration path in a specific order in order to get results. Because we're pulling in all this transactional data from your Infor environment, we can go ahead and look at it from a lot of different angles. So let's say I don't want to look at my rep. I'll take Judy Kelly off, click that off, and now I'm just looking at my US business by that lights and lamps. Maybe I want to look at lights and lamps as a whole. I can click off that breadcrumb as well, and now I look at it as a whole. So really easy to load this dashboard up with a lot of different reports, but then be able to filter just on this dashboard without having to get to the weeds of the data. I find that this is really helpful for sales reps so that you can go ahead and point and direct what you want them to do, but at the same time, they're not going in there and looking at the margins and saying, okay, getting into that weeds and going into analysis paralysis. And let's say you're done, click on reset. Just like an Etch-a-Sketch, it goes right back to where we started. Any questions on that? If you want to go ahead and throw that into the chat about the dashboards. I don't see any, but I just want to make sure. Oh, we do have one. How often is the data synced to update in Phocas? We start with an overnight refresh, and we do that so that you don't have any impact on your source data on the front end, but you can go ahead and increase that frequency as well. So for like the sales side, we have some sales companies that want to do it 3 times a day, some that want to do it every couple of hours. We can absolutely go ahead and increase the frequency. And then when I show you the financial statements tool as well, I know around month end, they want to see that updated much more frequently, so maybe every hour. And then we also train you how to do a manual refresh. Let's say you had an adjusting entry that you want to see posted. Go ahead and put that manual adjustment in there as well. Great question. Anything else before I move on? Okay, great. So again, if you think about these, every single one of these is a report. So then what I can do with that though, is I want to ask it more questions. I want to see what's going on specifically with this year-to-date sales number. I can go ahead and click on this Analyze button. And what that does is it takes me one level closer to that invoice level transaction detail. So right now what I'm looking at is I'm looking at my year-to-date by customer shipped to over that period of time, right? But maybe I don't want to look at year-to-date. Maybe I just want to look at currently the month-to-date. Or maybe I don't want to look at month-to-date, I want to do a rolling 12. Really nice because you have really fast, almost instant results when you go ahead and apply those filters. So let's go ahead. So we're doing rolling 12 and it's by period. I can do it by, let's do variance. So now really quickly, I'm looking at my current rolling 12 compared to my previous and what that variance is like as well. Maybe I want to look at it by the highest or the lowest. Again, really easy just to click and filter on that one too. So wow, this Robisol Welding is having some great success here year over year. You can look at that too. I can look at that not just by customer, but I can look at it by territory, by rep, by product class. But again, the tool is designed to go ahead and be easy to use so that you can follow your train of thought, ask the tool questions without investing a ton of time developing these reports, customizing the reports, pushing them out to everything, etc. So taking a look at that, let's go back and look at that customer shipped to. So again, I'm looking at rolling 12 of those customer shipped to. I'm looking at right now by, in that variance mode again, by local value. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over just to total, just to clean it up a bit. So now I'm looking at all these customers by that total value. But because we're bringing in all that transaction level detail from your sales invoices, we can pull in a ton more. So let's look at local value, but I can also pull in the cost, maybe that profit margin as well. Click out of here and the tool automatically re-summarize that same view based on that local value, my cost, and my margin. I want to look at what customer has the highest margin that we're paying out on. So, well, again, this is demo data, but that's some serious margin going on over there. I can go ahead and click on that. I can look at it by rep, who's doing the best over here. I can look at the customer type. Maybe I have some commercial accounts, healthcare accounts, retail, etc. I can see how those margins are doing as well. But again, I probably just ran through about 5 or 6 different reports with just a couple clicks of the button. Any questions on that? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. So I'm just going to look again at that local value. So again, right now I'm looking at customer type by local value. Let's go ahead and help our sales team have some quick wins. So again, what I said in the last, on the dashboard side, was cross-sell opportunities are probably one of the easiest ways to go ahead and expand that business. If they're buying my subfloor, they should also be buying my flooring. If they're buying my condensers, they should also be buying my ducting. If they're buying my fluorescents, they should also be buying my ballast. Whatever your business is, you know what complementary products that go together. And if they're not buying them from you, they're buying them from somebody else. So in this environment, I know that ballasts go with fluorescents. So I can click on those two, click this button up here on Phocas. And now I'm just looking at my ballast and my fluorescent lights business. If I highlight these two and click this matrix button, it turns them into, from rows into columns. So that what I can do on that one is now I'm looking at the ballast went from a row into a column. It's a pivot table. I can't do a pivot table, but I can click on a couple buttons as well. Then I take those two and I look at customer shipped to. So now I'm looking at every single customer that bought a ballast and or a fluorescent light. I really want to focus on those customers that went ahead and bought ballast, but did not buy fluorescents. Or let's do not buy ballast. So let's go ahead and click that. I can do ballast equals 0. So now I'm looking at every single customer that bought a fluorescent light that did not buy a ballast. So that's a good call for my sales reps to go ahead and make. So here's that list of 845 customers, I'm sorry. And what can I do with this report? I can do it the old way which is to go ahead and send it out to the team via PDF, Excel, or a CSV file, which is fine. But what I find is that most sales reps find spreadsheets laborious and really hard to read and time consuming. So what can we do to make this easier? I can take this same report and I can save it as a favorite. So again, save that as something I want to come back to. I don't have to run those clicks again. I can just save it. I can also save it as a favorite and have it go to a certain group of people. So like all my sales team or the finance team, whatever that might be. I can create an alert to it. So maybe when I want to know when there's more than 20 customers that don't have ballasts, or I can go ahead and add it right to a dashboard. So let's do that. I'm going to add it to a dashboard, and I'm going to go back to that sales manager dashboard that we talked about. And I'm going to add it onto that line of what to do today. Click on that and say, cross-sell opportunity. Okay, save and open. And that's how easy it is to go ahead and take that report and add it to a dashboard, right? So now I have that same dashboard that we started with. And right here, I have that cross-sell opportunity of those 845 customers. So now I have that. Now that's great, but it's still 845. But what's really cool is the tool will go ahead and automatically filter it. So if I'm Mark Foster, and I let me focus on him, and I log in for the day and it says what to do today, it'll automatically show those 26 customers that I have as Mark Foster that I need to make sure I reach out to because they're not buying ballasts. Like Excel. So I have a question in the chat. Does Phocas allow you to connect to the data tables in Phocas externally, like in Excel through Power Query? Yes, and it actually doesn't even need to be through Power Query. You can go ahead and what I have some customers do, they'll take that Excel file and or a CSV or whatever else, and they'll load it up into a Dropbox. And that Dropbox will be picked up at that same overnight refresh or the frequency that you want to. So you can go ahead and bring that data in, and we'll go ahead and we'll map it into your environment, and that way you can bring in that outside data source. I have one customer that makes licorice, popcorn, and gummies. And so they get a licorice report once a month. And so that comes in an Excel file, and they drop that into that Dropbox, and that gets uploaded every month so they can see how they're performing to industry as well. So yes, we absolutely can. Okay, perfect. So that's an example of what the tool does. So let's dive back into that cross-sell opportunity. The other thing that I really like about it, again, it's where it's different too, is you're not getting an empty box where you have to fill it up. We're actually going ahead and providing a starting base of the solution with certain dashboards, reports, etc., help you understand and train you how to use it and customize it. But let's say you still have questions. What I really like about the tool too is I think that number is off for the safety first customer. I can right click on it and go down to transaction level. And again, because we're pulling that transaction level detail from your Infor data, we can pull all those specific line items that made up that number. So you have, there's a single source of truth and you have that data integrity. You can go all the way down from that transactional level, but go all the way up to this dashboarding level too. So I can start at this dashboard, but get all the way down to that transaction, which I think is pretty amazing, and not many tools can do that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead. So that would be the sales side. And now, there's a lot of sales tools out there. I know Infor customers have a lot of different tools that they use, but one of the areas that they have a hard time with is also on the operational data. Because again, like I said, Phocas bringing in all these different data sources, we can merge them into one view. So let's say I want to go ahead and create a dashboard that has more than one thing going on. So let's go ahead and look at, let's say, a stock analysis dashboard. So now I can go ahead and go to the stock analysis dashboard, and I'm looking at all things from inventory, like the inventory table. I'm looking at the sales table. I could be looking at the PO table, what's in transit as well. So here I have my product classes, the top 10 classes, the stock value I have on hand. Again, it's one thing to make more money, but you also want to be smart about where you're spending your money. So here's that stock value on hand, the number of lines I'm carrying, my dead stock value, declining. What I like about this too is if you have a vendor scorecard, which you do have as well, that comes with the environment, is that you can say, let's say I'm talking to ABC company and I have this dead stock, a good opportunity when you're on that call really fast to say, hey, can we do a stock swap? This is declining or this is dead stock, etc. Look at all the different product lines, what my turns are and what stock I have on hand. I know supply chain has been improving, but for a lot of times our customers were really appreciating this because they make sure they were not overstocking or understocking. And then you can look at the performance as well, with their average days late, how they're doing that too. Maybe ask for a discount if they're consistently late until they improve or whatever that might be as well. Okay, so that's a stock analysis dashboard. I also really like this customer scorecard too. So let's go to the customer scorecard. What I like about this too is that when the sales rep can go ahead and meet with their customers, you might have certain things that that you want them to look at. So a couple different things. You can go ahead and put in some notes to say like AR information is looking is good, no worries, or what that might be back and forth as well. But let's take a look at this too. So you create this customer scorecard. I'm going to go out and meet with this metal fab company. Right now I'm sitting in my car. Instead of me having to spend hours to prep for this meeting, have a dashboard that leadership has said this is what we really want you to focus on. I can click on focus. The whole dashboard will go ahead and update. So now I can look at right now the average value PO is about 4,000. They're returning about 7% of their business. How they're doing current versus previous years. Obviously, currently they're doing much better than they were last year. Taking a look at the subclasses too. And what I really like about this too, I don't know if this is on this dashboard, we can also go ahead and put their AR up here so that you can make sure to direct your sales team like, hey, before they go ahead and purchase more, I need you to make sure that you get that AR kind of caught up as well. So you can go ahead and load this customer scorecard as much. So here on this, they don't have any AR right now, but this is the way that you can go ahead and have them have that conversation before they place their next order. So again, the tool makes it really easy to see your business from an overall sales perspective, what you have in terms of stock on hand, how you're talking to your customers, and how you're talking to your suppliers and vendors. Any questions around the operational analytics and dashboards as well? Nope. Okay, great. So what I'll do now is I'm going to go ahead and switch over. So this is our analytics tool. This is the foundation and our I would say our bread and butter, but we actually now sell a lot of these products just as much as just a rate as our analytics tool. So we're going to go ahead and dive into our financial statements tool. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go into our financial statements database right here. So instead of pulling that like sales or PO transaction level detail, what our financial statements data tool does is pull in all the GL transactions as well as your chart of accounts and goes ahead and builds out these financial statements. And out of the box, we'll go ahead and have the trial balance, we'll have a cash flow, a balance sheet, and a P&L statement. And we'll be able to go ahead and train you how to make and use multiple versions. So in this particular environment, I have 6 different versions. And go ahead, let's start with that P&L though. And what's nice about this is that number one is it's really easy to customize, but it's also really easy to distribute. So I can have multiple versions, maybe for a branch or warehouse manager, for a sales manager, for the executive team, for my controller, for my CFO, and have lots of different versions of it and have it automatically updated on their dashboards as well without me having to worry about running them and waiting for that time to run and distribute them as well. So let's take a look at this. So right now I'm looking at my P&L statement, again by rolling 12. I'm bringing in my current to previous to budget. Maybe I don't want to look at rolling 12, I just want to look at the last 3 months. Again, just like within the analytics tool, really fast to go and change those date ranges. So let's go back to, let's do year to date. So now I'm looking at my year to date revenue by current, by previous, by budget. I can go ahead and bring in other things too. I can bring in other budget versions too. Maybe I have an updated budget, etc. Or I have, I want to see current to a couple of years past, etc. I can do that too. I'll go ahead and I can also bring in a couple of different things too. This is the newest addition too. So we have updates that we do every month, and that's obviously included with your subscription as well. So this is one of the most recent one too, is the Sparkle lines. So on that one too, I'm not a financial person, but I really like this because I can see what's going on. So you're looking at your current to your previous to your budget, and it's giving you a version of what you can see really quickly and easily about how everything's going. And you can look at it from your revenue by products, expand that out. So I can look at the revenue is going down, actually slightly coming up. The discounts given is great because it's going down as well, so that's good. Maybe I want to look at my OpEx accounts and take a look at that as well. So nice and easy, just a kind of fun new feature that we added. But again, you do get these new features and functionalities that are included in your subscription too. So we're going to turn that off. One area that I see a lot of our customers, both Infor and also elsewhere, have an issue with is when they want to do a consolidated P&L and then also want to look at maybe breaking that P&L out by division or by business unit or by branch or whatever else. And what they typically do is they'll take all of that detail out of their Infor data or their reporting data, dump it into Excel templates, and once a month go through and scrub this. We want to make it easier. So let's go ahead and clean this up. Again, I'm going to take out budgets. I'm going to take out previous just to make it nice and clean looking right now too. So we'll go ahead and look at this, and here is our overall P&L and our totals, right? But I want to go ahead and I want to look at it by all of my different countries. So think about every single country is going to be my different divisions. I can highlight these three. And again, just like in the analytics tool, click this matrix button. So pivot table, rows into columns, and click back on this financial statement summary. With just a couple of clicks, I'm able to go ahead and recreate that. And now I'm going to have my consolidated P&L broken out by all my different divisions as well. A lot of people like that one too. And now let's say I want to look at my OpEx accounts. So again, I can take a look at all those different OpEx accounts and I can scroll through them because this came from my chart of accounts and so it's all coming in through. But let's make it a little bit easier. So maybe I want to go ahead and look at let's go ahead and look at the department or the type and scroll that up and drag and drop. And now what the tool will do is same the consolidated P&L broken out by all the different business units as well. And now when I expand it out, it now has categorized them all the different things. So now let's say I want to go ahead and look at that marketing expense. So let's scroll that, open that up as well. So now I can see that, that marketing expense broken out by my total by all my divisions as well. And perhaps this one, why is this Australia number so large too? Just like in that analytics tool, we're taking that granular GL transaction data. I can click on that and go all the way down to transaction mode. So now just from that financial statement, I can go all the way back down and see every single GL reference code that made up that particular transaction. Really nice, especially in leadership meetings when you want to go ahead and ask, why is that number off? Instead of having to go back into the source data and Infor, you can actually use Phocas to go ahead and ask it questions. Any questions about the analytics or the financial statements tool right now? I'm going to take a little bit of a pause. Nope. Doing such a great job. You guys have all their questions answered. So again, we talked about making it easy and looking at it and making it good for the end user as well, right? So I want to go ahead and show you something too. So here's that financial statement. Here's that P&L that we started off with, right? And we have all these different versions. How hard is it to customize? So let's say I want to make a new version for somebody else. I can click on the star again and go to statements. And again, this is all in training too that we provide as well. And now I have all these different versions. So again, you're going to start with your trial balance, a cash flow, a balance sheet, and a P&L. But you can take that one that you started off with and clone it and then make it unique to whatever that person might be. So here we have a branch P&L, which might have everything above the line, a marketing P&L that just talks about the marketing spend, but maybe keeps all of that expenses and compensation out of that too. So let's say I want to look at this P&L and I want to go ahead and redesign what the look and feel is too. So I can take that and I can go ahead and here's my revenue from products and services and cost of sales. Perhaps I want to see the revenue from services up top. I can go ahead and do that. I can put in equations as well, so I can do my calculations. I can also go ahead and add different calculations, groupings, headers, spacers, and customize what the look and feel of that particular P&L looks like. But really easy to go ahead and do. I can reverse it out. I can hide different rows and do everything else too, and then save it. And that would be, let's say I wanted this to be for the new, VP of sales, want to see it in a certain way. That's where you can go ahead and do that here. Okay. Then if I click over to account, so you might have a travel account. Let's see. Yes. You might have a travel account. Perhaps that travel, you want to break out those accounts into like conferences or site visits and everything else too, but you have that one GL account. How do I add additional dimensions? So I can go ahead and take, I'm just going to go ahead and, I don't know if there's a travel account in here. There is a travel. So let's say I had, there's only one line though. So let's go back and go here. Let's say these are my 6 different travel accounts that I have. I can go ahead and say, like, I want to go ahead and add another additional dimension to it. I can go and add additional dimension to it and recategorize it as well. So let's say I want to have some for my, my conference side, and go ahead and apply that logic. And when I save it, it will save specifically, and that logic will save for that one particular financial statement. That way you don't have to apply it over and over again, but you can have different versions depending on what that audience wants to see or does not want to see. So easy to go ahead and do it too. Close out of all that. And the other thing too on that one as well, just like within the analytics tool, I can save this as a favorite. So I can save this version of the P&L onto a dashboard, and with each data refresh, it'll go ahead and update it. So I'm not having to do a monthly look back about what's going on. Instead, I can see the business and its performance from a fiscal perspective as well every single day. I can add it to a dashboard. Also, when I save it to a favorite, I can go ahead and have it subscribed too. So I can make sure that this report is going to be sent out to, you know, like the Lauren Sullivan report is going to be sent out to all these different people, you know, at a certain date and time, like every Monday at 9 a.m. I can schedule that report to be sent out too. So that way it's not a manual push. Normally, sometimes when people have to go on vacation, they have somebody else do it. This is automatically updated. So I want to have this P&L sent out, you know, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and go ahead and schedule that too. And that's the financial statement tool kind of overall in a gist. Any questions on the financial statements tool? Nope. Okay. So last but not least that we're going to show today, we do also have a rebates tool, but we're not going to show that today, but we can go ahead and show you the budget and forecasting tool. Again, so we have the analytics, we have the financial statements. We can go ahead and upload Excel budgets that you currently have into those tools as well. So we can go ahead and take that Excel file as well up into it, and then and do that as well. We also have the budgeting and forecasting. I know we only have a little bit of time, so maybe perhaps if you're interested in looking at the budgeting and forecasting tool, we can do it on another time. But just to give a quick update about what it looks and feels like, again, you can go ahead and create. Oops, move this around. Sorry, give me 1 second. Create a new budget. I'm going to go ahead and call this central data. I can base it on my sales. I can base this budget on a lot of different things. Let's go and base it off of that financial statements. And we'll take that same P&L we did. So I'm going to take that profit and loss. I'll be the budget administrator. What's really cool too is you can go down up to 6 levels. And so I can go ahead and get really granular about what I want to see. I can go ahead and I'm going to do it by the year. And I'm going to do last year versus this year, actual, offset it by 12. I can customize all of this as well. But what's really cool is that quickly and that easily, I'm taking last year's P&L and uploading it into a format and a tool where I can go ahead and now play around with it. So now I'm looking at the revenue from products, that same thing that we saw. Let's say I want the sales manager to budget this, say please budget. Assign it out to that sales manager. And then that will go ahead and lock that out too. But a nice collaborative way. It looks and feels a lot of like Excel, but what it does have as well is it has the ability to have real-time collaborative. You can share out specific lines. You have audit trails to see who did what when they're doing too. Add sublines, add all sorts of different headcount drivers in terms of a headcount driver, maybe a database driver, sales, leadership, inflation, but really flexible as well. So we can definitely go into that more should you want to go ahead and set up a demo time as well. But that's our budgeting and forecasting tool in a really quick nutshell. I know I only have a couple minutes left. So let me pause that. So with that being said, would love to go ahead and open up the discussion to see if there's any other questions that we have too. Anybody have any questions about it? Okay. Well, I guess on that note, I would say, Shane, I really appreciate you taking the time to set this up. If you have any questions or want to learn more or set up a follow-up visit to kind of dive deeper into any of the tools, please reach out to either Shane or Central Data, and then you can also reach out to myself or Alexa. We're here to help and answer any questions that you might have, but really looking forward to continuing to partner with Central Data. We see you guys all definitely at TUG as well. We were there last year and have been the last few years, so that the Infor TUG community has been great. Really appreciate